All right, so digital marketing, not as easy as you would presume. One, because it involves digital business. Right? You think of marketing as just a subset of business, right? Behind the scenes, you have things like accounting, finance, management, human resources. So just setting up a website or an app is not the end all be all, right? So we want to kind of distinguish between things like e-commerce versus e-business. Two distinctive things. Here we're going to talk about today kind of the strategy. We'll talk about 5 S's, right? What that's all about, the difference between e-commerce and business, and the history, pretty much, of the internet and the digital marketing space. All right, Google. Google through the years. Remember, says, hey, Sergey Brin, and I believe it might have been Eric Schmidt, I believe at the University of Michigan, PhD students. And they found a way to use web crawlers to kind of surf all information on the internet, sift through it to find relevant information for any kind of search query, right? So kind of guesswork. Like, well, how do you determine what's relevant if someone does a query within a search bar on a search engine? Became very popular, was competing with Yahoo, because kind of Yahoo was really Google before Google, but the thing with Yahoo focused a lot on directories, and directories are kind of a listing of companies or entities that have a URL on the internet. Not necessarily finding like relevant, pertinent information that one may search, so it wasn't as efficient. So Yahoo kind of banked more on like showing news on the homepage, a little bit more advertising on the homepage. So they were kind of divided in their strategy. Whereas Google came around and said, hey, we're focused completely on search. We want to optimize the search space. Here they're kind of giving a sort of history of it, right? We're talking about here around early years, late 90s. Yahoo was the big one, but then we have, I believe that's Eric Schmidt. And he started Google here in this Menlo Park garage out in California, Silicon Valley. A lot of companies started out of the garage, including Apple, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, had their first Apple computers built inside of the garage, also out in Silicon Valley in California. And so Google started to really expand and take off, revolutionize everything. So they kind of filtered information in terms of relevance, what you were searching for. Now we say kind of the new rendition of Google is AI. Well, I would say more AI being factored into a lot of the search queries. So all AI really did in terms of search was give you better relevant information. It really summarized what you were looking for. So if you looked up something, it should give you a more in-depth, kind of concise results of what you're trying to search. As opposed to say with Google, you may have scrolled down the first page. We have bad attention span, so no one really ever goes to the second page. So whatever was relevant on that first page was kind of where you went with that. But Google says, hey, you know what? We are in search, but we're using, we're under other operating systems, right? You're under Mac OS, right? iOS, you're using Firefox, right? Internet browsers. And so what happened is Google started to develop its own browser because it wanted to be in control, right? Because usually it wouldn't be the default search engine for other browsers, right? Because Google kind of came up with Chrome. So Google Chrome is an internet browser in which Google is typically the default search engine. All right, other things like Amazon. Who knows how Amazon started out? What did it start out selling? Right, okay, so Amazon started out selling books, right? Bezos was out in Texas, and got some money from his family members, and, you know, had this cool little office in the basement somewhere. In '94, so that's where Amazon started out, as a retailer selling books. Essentially, it was competing with Barnes and Nobles and other bookstores at that time, which were very popular, right? Very, very popular at that time. '95, Yahoo came around. Like I said, Yahoo was a portal and a directory. Directory is different than, say, search engine because it's listing websites and companies. eBay, right? I know that Elon Musk was a big investor early on in eBay. Who here uses eBay? Okay, and you just list things on there, sell, do you just buy? What do you use?
Normally it's just like if I'm trying to find, like, try to snag a deal or something, or if I'm looking at auctions, sometimes, I'll go on and check like, auctions for sports memorabilia, or I like doing card breaks, where someone will open like a hobby box and there might be autographs, there might be hollows, there might be something that, there could be a lot of money in getting that kind of stuff, and,
Okay.
yeah.
You're like, well, eBay is used primarily for what?
Just like resale in a way.
Yeah, you're like, hey, what the textbook kind of describes as customer to citizen transactions, right? Bringing people together and so they can sell their own stuff, right? eBay is not necessarily has its own eBay products that it sells for the most part, right? People are going on there to auction, buy things off, you can buy it now, you can make an offer, right, et cetera, et cetera. So eBay was huge. So we say, hey, okay, there's a lot of different distinctions kind of coming around. Alta Vista was another big search engine back in the '90s. It disappeared though. Hotmail. Anyone still has a Hotmail account for email, right? One of the earlier versions, I believe Microsoft, was heavily invested into Hotmail for some ownership in it at that time. Now we know that Gmail is more popular than Hotmail or Yahoo email accounts. '98, GoTo.com, Overstreet, Google '98, Alibaba '99. Anyone uses Alibaba? AliExpress. Right, so Alibaba, AliExpress are like the Temu and Shein of now, right? So before you would go in there, you buy kind of products from all over the world, Turkey, China, India. It probably took a very long time, but if you were a business, you can also buy on there too. So you could buy 100,000 units of a particular item at cheap, so you kind of say relatively cheap cost. The downside was it took 2-3 weeks to get it. Right? So now things have increased with Temu and Shein, and now you can get Shein, Temu in 2-3 days. It's not like the old days now. MySpace. Anyone had MySpace account? Anyone remember MySpace? Anyone ever heard of MySpace? Anyone ever seen a MySpace like homepage? All right, so I had MySpace, right? So you think before, so, once again, they're like, hey, how do humans communicate within a social network environment? In the earliest days, it was actually AOL, America Online, had chat rooms, right? So back then, I was like really young. But I was on those chat rooms, right? Me and my friends, right? We'd be on there, we'd be trolling, we'd just come on there, just talk crap, right? But it was a lot of fun. You get to interact with people, but it was very limited. Couldn't upload photos, right? Couldn't do any of that stuff. Videos, it took a long time to even get the thing started, et cetera, et cetera. It kind of expanded out from AOL chat rooms into more like Yahoo chat rooms. Those were a little bit more quicker, faster. And then MySpace came around. And MySpace was a social network created by this guy, Tom, I forget his last name, but his name was Tom. And what it was used primarily for is to have a very unique kind of homepage. Glitter, music, put your photos up, very limited amount of photos you could put up, and you could message individuals. So it was the earliest, I would say, form of a real functional social network, right? After that, we know that Facebook came around, right? Facebook created by Mark Zuckerberg at Harvard University. He worked with a couple twin brothers, some some other investors. Some people feel that he robbed those people, or took their ideas for the most part. And so with Facebook, it originally started out with only .edu emails accounts allowed on the platform. So really for college students. But really at the beginning, it was really for Ivy League college students. So maybe about 10 to 15 universities in its early stages, not the whole entire gamut of every university in the US alone. Beyond that, it expanded, right? Kind of caught on and allowed all the university students. And then beyond that, it kind of allowed everybody, right? Get rid of the whole .edu requirement, allowed everybody to get on there. Thus, we have Facebook up today, and later on they bought Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. Wikipedia changed things, right? Wikipedia was kind of the go-to site for, I would say, really scholarly academic information. But now it's probably struggling now because of things like ChatGPT. People feel like you can get more quicker, concise information. Because think about this, it's like, what are the trends for learning now? Well, the trends for learning is people may not want as much in-depth knowledge anymore, right? People don't want to be the encyclopedia of information. Whereas before, people may have wanted very insightful in-depth. People just want good enough information, right? So we say with AI, what you're really looking for is a summary, right? You're looking for a summary of the main idea of whatever it is you're searching for, and that's really the catch for it. All right, and then other things expanded, right? We talk about internet radio, Skype, peer-to-peer. So let's replace these things. Hey, this looks like an early form of Zoom, right? Peer-to-peer internet telephone, voice over internet protocol, which is now, kind of taken over by Zoom, Last FM, things like radio and music. We could relate that now to Spotify, right? Spotify, Pandora, Shazam, all those sort of things. So not much has, I would say, has really changed in the last 30 years. We just kind of expanded on original demands of people. So what's the focus here? Focus on the demands of what people want, back to market, right? You're servicing a demand. If you stop evolving, right, or just maybe kind of phased out, then you no longer will exist and someone else will come and replace you as competition grows. All right, so there we go. Facebook 2004. YouTube, right? YouTube is huge, owned by Google. PayPal. Right, we're talking about first kind of easy ways to buy things online that are protecting your information and kind of trust. Elon Musk really get most of his money from PayPal. Right, that's how you get the bulk of his early money to be able to invest in, say, starting Tesla and other ventures of his. iPhone, the first iPhone. I still have the first iPhone. 2007. Right, remember say the catch with that was elimination of buttons, physical buttons, a touch screen, beautiful design, and very simple. Most importantly, having applications to service all the functions. Groupon, anyone still uses Groupon? Anyone uses Groupon ever? Right, well you should use Groupon. Right, Groupon is basically, companies work with Groupon to give discounts. So say like, hey, you wanna go on a boat ride downtown, like the architectural tour, like, oh, maybe $60. Go on Groupon, and they'll probably have a deal for like 2 passengers for $23. So Groupon, you save a ton of money on events, places you wanna go out, movies. You might wanna go to the movies. Go on Groupon, you might find a ticket for like $7 at AMC, brand new, includes popcorn, might include the drink, everything, right? So Groupon is really good in terms of using group buying service. Kind of everybody pulls in, therefore it lowers the cost, right? To get certificates. Foursquare and Kickstarter, right? You think almost like venture capital. You have a great idea and like, okay, how do I get funding for this wonderful idea? I could go to the banks reject you. What else can I do? I could do sort of grouping individuals together, which we call crowdsourcing, to put the idea out there and get people to invest in it immediately, right? And then we become early investors and the idea can come to fruition and take off. All right, later, Snapchat. Who has Snapchat? Or better yet, who doesn't have Snapchat? Who in here does not have a Snapchat? I don't have a Snapchat. I got all the other stuff, but when Snapchat came out, I was like, what's the point of this again? I'm supposed to take videos of everything, walking down the hallway, and that's a little clip, going down the stairs, there's another little, I'm like, it sounds like a lot of work, right? It's like a lot of consistent, right? And I maybe I should have overlooked like other features of like, okay, some of what the messages or videos are private and they disappear after a certain amount of time. Is that still the thing? Okay, right? But let me ask you, what is the benefit to you? What's the value of Snapchat for you versus other platforms, social media platforms? Yes.
Like for Snapchat, sometimes I'll look at some of my friends' stories and be like, oh well, it looks like they're probably having a not so fun time, or like it's a good way to kind of be in the loop of what's going on in their life.
So would you equate Snapchat to just stories?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Snapchat was maybe fundamentally just about stories, and maybe Instagram and Facebook stole that concept and say, we'll just have stories.
Yeah, kind of.
Would you say that?
Yeah, just to kind of see like clips of what people are doing. And
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So for Snapchat, let's say okay, it's just for little clips of people's lives, what they're doing now. So that came around in 2011, right? Other things, smart things, cloud tags, right, and other things that's going to happen in the future. But right now, there's kind of older information. So yeah, AI is here and is all the rage. Right, so for the most part, if you're looking to invest in anything, I would say invest in something relative to AI in terms of where you think it will go next, right? So next, people are just using it for generating photos and videos and things like that, but kind of really think, what do you think is the next phase of AI? All right, so what is the scope of digital marketing, right? We say, hey, we need objectives. Nothing's good without a plan, right? You gotta have a concise strategy, if not, you kind of thin the herd and you kind of lose yourself. So you say, how do you do that? You manage the process for responsibilities for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customers' requirements properly. Sounds about the same in any other marketing class that we've kind of taken. Like it's about profits, but it's about kind of being first, anticipation, making assumptions. Right? Hey, what do you think we should put money towards? Where do we think the trends are going? How do we anticipate? Look at some metrics, other information, we go from there, right? Here's a more in-depth sort of definition. It says customer-centric, right? Focused, using email, databases, web, mobile, internet protocol, TV. Remember said we had original kind of organic broadcasting, just using the radio waves to beam to your television. Now we have internet protocol television packaged more into application-based, so Netflix, Hulu, right, Disney Plus, HBO Max, et cetera, and we use it to contribute to marketing activities aimed at achieving profitable acquisition, retention of customers. So once again, we need to have relationships, right? Most important thing is build a relationship so we keep the customers, not just have them pass by once upon a time. Right? Challenge. So we say, hey, we have a multi-channel buying process in the customer life cycle, like we've seen in maybe other marketing classes, and improving customer knowledge of their profiles, behavior, values. So we say this is much bigger and better than traditional marketing. One, we can house the information very efficiently of people. We have your name, phone number, address, zip code. We may have your credit card profile saved. We may have your social security number even saved, somewhere in the last 4 digits, at least for that purpose. And it helps us in kind of monitor you, right? And makes it easy for you so that your behavior is better suited to buy more stuff. All right, so we have paid media, we have owned media, we have earned media. What's the difference? All right, we say, hey, advertising is using things that are paid for, right? We have to pay for advertising in the hopes that we get a return, right? So we say advertising is paid search. Right? So back to Google. We say, hey, I'm going to pay to be relevant. I'm going to pay to be relevant in terms of keywords. So Google is about keywords, using keywords that people type out and say, is it relevant, and put targeted ads towards that relevance at the top, right? Once again, we said people are not gonna scroll to page 2, right? So obviously, you want to be on page 1 at the top for any kind of relevant search, right? And we're gonna display those ads. We have, paid media, we're talking about here, automation of content into ads. So everything is automated on Google, right? When you search something, those web crawlers that funnel and gets relevant information based on the keywords that you search, it's automatic, right? Kind of guesswork too. Like it's not always exactly what you're looking for. You may need to add more words, right? You may have to put in quotation marks. You may have to do something to make it a little bit more concise. But once again, you say, hey, AI is kind of enhance that proposition. All right, then we get things we own. We own digital properties. Anybody has a website in this class? Or anything? Or do you have a website?
Well, I have a website for Moonlight Bay Marina. That's stuff that I run, as well as my social media pages for restaurant. Yeah.
Okay, so the restaurant has a website.
Yes.
Right. Do you track the information on that website? Do you be able to see how many visitors?
Yeah. I see how many
Balance.
visitors check it, and I also can see how many people like may press on a link or something like to our social media pages.
Gotcha. Right. Yes.
I do as well. I have a link tree. It's nothing crazy, you know, but I designed the entire link tree myself, and then I have a little blurb about myself. It can take you to a secondary page that you can set up for an email chain for the business, and then that's kind of how I get my like followers and, you know, a general idea of how many people might show the next pop-up, or, you know, just kind of put the word out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. You have a presence, right, and that's about exposure and presence. But then you're like, okay, I have the presence. What do I do beyond the presence? Because once again, we say human beings are complicated. They're going to see it and they lose interest very quickly unless you give a value-added proposition, right? Something that'll stimulate someone to either act or do something, subscribe, share, like, right? Sign up for our newsletter, for our email, do something, input your information, click on this other link right here, right? Those are all value-added propositions, and how we kind of cater those will lend itself to how much more people will engage with us on the sites, right? But we do have the properties, things we own. We own the media of websites, right? Protected, copywritten, et cetera, et cetera. Mobile apps, blogs, and social presence. We got things like earned media, partner networks, influencer outreach, word of mouth, social networks, publisher editorials, et cetera, right? So we're kind of looking at paid, owned, and earned, and how they kind of online and influence one another. They're all important. We kind of got to grab from all of each in order to be successful. All right, so we have things in the back end and the front end. Right, so we look at the digital space. Front end would mean user interface, things that you can physically see once you go onto the app or onto the website. All right, we're looking at graphics, videos, homepage, right? How things are kind of structured. And then in the back end, you're like, well, it needs to be programmed. What kind of programming are we using? What kind of software do we use, right? Will this software kind of work on any platform across all mobile devices or, you know, things of that nature? So, you know, you have to have good front-end work and good back-end work as they work together, right? So dual screening is important. Getting good information on both. All right, how do digital technologies contribute to marketing, right? We say marketing is the management process responsible for, like we say, identifying. Here's a question, give examples of how the internet achieves these things. How does the internet, here you're saying web and email, but obviously I want you to think beyond that, right, more current. How do they achieve identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements for profitability? Right, think of your own consumer behavior, like how do these companies get you to buy? How do they utilize the internet? How do they utilize the social media to kind of get you?
They kind of take a specific time period and see what you do, whether it's like online shopping or what you can interact on social media and try to filter and select like target items for you. Like if you go like and you shop through a lot of shoes, like if you go on other websites, they'll have a lot of pop-up ads for like Nike, New Balance, Adidas.
Yeah.
So they just try to target specific items that you frequently view on.
Gotcha. Right, you're like, hey, it's kind of, you know, it's using an algorithm, right? Maybe for recent searches, right? You're like, hey, we don't need to know everything about you the last 5 years. What we do need to know is what you're interested in today or yesterday at the very least, right? Using that algorithm to express the same kind of items and information relevant to what you were searching to begin with, or what you clicked on to begin with, right? And presenting that in other platforms, right? Because obviously your information is being sold across the internet, right? You don't know it, but it's sold. A lot of times stolen. It's probably on a black market somewhere, right? People might even have your photo somewhere on the onion router or something like that, right? Dark web. But your information is being sold. It's allowed to be sold. It's legally allowed to be sold for commercial purposes, right? It's only when they kind of go beyond the bounds of that and using them for other purposes will the government get involved. So you're like, all right, the algorithm. Anyway else, how do the websites and the platforms get you to buy? How do they do it? What other ways, what other methods? How do they achieve getting? Any TikTok shoppers? Anyone shops TikTok shop?
I found a bunch of, like, shirts that I like, they're like graphic shirts where, you know how some, like, kind of retro, or it would be, like a, what does it have, like a Michelob Ultra or a Quarter Banquet one, and it had like the rodeo, on the back. So,
Okay.
symbol in the front and then like the graphic on the back.
Alright, nice. So how does TikTok shop get you to buy? Like, what are some of the methods?
Or you can just swipe, and then you might see people with the products, or you might just press on the TikTok shop and they give you like 20% off, or maybe even 25, and they offer free shipping. Just anything, if you wanna find something cheap, then you look that way. If you don't wanna go get like a name brand, like if I wanna get Ray-Bans, I would just go to Ray-Ban, but if I wanted something to look like it, but not spend all that money, I would just go look for boots.
Alright, so it's using a lot of also personal information to say, hey, you know, you like Ray-Ban looking type glasses, but you may not wanna pay Ray-Ban money. Here's some alternatives on the TikTok shop for that. Difficult though, right? Difficult to kind of anticipate. Alright, so the internet can be used for marketing research to find out customers' needs and wants. We would say things that are trending, things that you have searched for, things that you have bought in the past. Anticipation. The internet provides an additional channel by which customers can access information to make purchases. Evaluating the demands via governing resource allocation to e-marketing, right? To They're like anticipating we can use that information to kind of help you make purchases, right? And make it easy for you, right? Appreciate it. Satisfying. We say, hey, a key success factor in e-marketing, achieve customer satisfaction through the e-channel, which raises issues such as, is the site easy to use? Does it perform adequately? What is the standard of associated customer service, and how are physical products dispatched? Think of Amazon, right? You like Amazon, why? Because like their platform is phenomenal. It's easy to use. There's information to show you other people who have bought the product. They also have comments and videos and photographs to show you how it worked out for them. You're gonna, for the most part, get free shipping, usually. It'll be relatively affordable, may not be the cheapest, if you can find it somewhere. But the point is, human beings have a preference for convenience. And we're willing to pay a couple extra dollars if you can help us with our convenience issue, right? And Amazon has sort of capitalized on that part, which makes Amazon satisfying. Anyone here do not use Amazon all the time? Like you choose to kind of actually just go on the websites of the stores and purchase there? For what, usually like what, all your products or?
Yeah, just because sometimes like you don't know what you're gonna get with Amazon. Maybe the quality's a little bad, so I'd rather just go straight to the brand's website and just order, even if it's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, sometimes you can't trust Amazon, right? Unless it's maybe directly from that manufacturer, right? You're gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy Nike shoes. Is Nike selling on Amazon or just some other third party to sell them, right? I know they'll buy it from Nike.com. It's gonna be legitimate, why, they'll back it up, I can return it, right? Everything will be taken care of. Here they're giving a YouTube video explaining the Tesco Home Plus virtual subway store presence in South Korea. We don't need to see the video, but the point is that, hey, we're also using digital advertising here to make things convenient for people rather than having physical human beings, say, serve up some food products that we would like. Maybe this concept kind of took off, and think of maybe Amazon Fresh. Anyone's ever been in Amazon Fresh? Anyone's ever shopped in Amazon Fresh, ever? What can you tell us about Amazon Fresh? How does it work?
They have like the dash cart thing, so like when you put the product in the cart, it like scans it, and then like you don't have to check out, you can just like, they have like a lane that you go through at the end and that like processes your payment, so it like cuts down the time. And then you can also like look up where things are at in the store, it's just like very techy.
Yeah, there's not too many people working there for the most part, right? You just walk out with stuff. Sometimes you kind of feel guilty, like you just stole everything and you're gonna get arrested or something like. But it's connected really to your Amazon account, right? So it's connected to Amazon. You go grocery shopping, the cart registers information. You can also use your phone for other things, and you leave. And say like, hey, that's super convenient. It probably saves a lot of time. And one of the issues with going grocery shopping is that people usually waste a lot of time buying things unnecessary and looking around for too many things that you can't find. You gotta ask people where it's at. So that solves a problem, right? Of cutting down time for grocery shopping. And also too, they usually have some Amazon area where you can pick up some of your packages and send things out. All of that. All right, here's some benefits of e-marketing. All right, first thing, these are called the 5 S's, right? So we're like, hey, we have to think of what are the benefits. People need benefits in order to make purchases, right? You gotta give them some sort of reward, right? One is, for us as marketers, we want sales to grow, right? So how the benefit is delivered includes direct online sales and sales from offline channels. This is achieved through wider distribution of customers who cannot readily service offline and perhaps through a wider product range. All of that to say is broader. Right? If you have a physical store, you have a limited space, limited inventory that you can house. If you don't have a physical store, this online platform is kind of limited. You can source it from somewhere. There's far more options to use than other channels. Example, they would say, hey, achieve 10% of sales online in the market, increase online sales by, for product by 20% a year. So usually these are the metrics, what we call key performance indicators, where we say like, hey, how much did you increase in sales versus last year because of some digital marketing efforts, right? Simple. Next, serve with added value, achieve through giving customer extra benefits online to inform product development through online dialogue. Tell me, how does companies give you added benefits besides what you originally purchased? Like, hey, I want to purchase a t-shirt. What extra did you get? What kind of extra stuff is?
They can give you like points, and after like a certain amount, you can get like a free shirt or like 50% off of another purchase.
Yeah, like, hey, subconsciously, human beings are pre-wired for competition, pre-wired for what we describe as gamification. So in essence, if you take anything, any product, and you say, I'm gonna make a game out of it. What's a game include? Points, right? I'm gonna give a person points. Now they wanna reach a goal, right? We just created just sports. People wanna reach and achieve the goal. Free cheeseburger at McDonald's because you bought 3 filet-o-fish. Something of the sort, right? In essence, that's what the online platforms have done. Realize that gamification is huge. And also, you can see that too, and when you go on your apps and play the little games, right? There's advertisements there, and they kind of tie in those two things, right? Make you click on something. Why? Because you've already been initiating gamified behavior. All right, so we find that to be an added value, right? What other way do they add value? Add additional value beyond the purchase itself. So we heard rewards points. What other things are out there? What other benefits do they supply? Yes?
I would say like their guarantees, like a lot of places, they'll offer you like a guarantee if the product breaks or it's not what you expected, you can return it.
You're like comfort. You're like, oh man, I need to sell comfort. How do you get comfort? You're like, I don't know, a warranty, a guarantee, a refund policy of something, right? The ease of the transaction to return it, return policy, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So you need some sort of added value. Here they're saying increase interaction with different content on site, or you've objectives related to this. Increased dwell time duration on site by 10%, increased number of customers actively using online services, et cetera, et cetera. All right, next, we got speak. People need to speak to individuals, right? It builds trust. People have a ton of questions for all sorts of products, right? More complex products, or it could be something electronic, technological. It could be a business buying an X-ray machine, right? Printers for the business. You have questions. And you say, hey, creating two-way dialogue through web interactions like forums and surveys, and conducting online market research through formal surveys. Trying to get feedback. One, you have a little chat space where you can type in and ask questions, and maybe someone, say maybe an NBS replying in that chat database, right? It makes you feel like you're talking to customer service rep, and you are, for the most part. All right, so people need communication. How do we do this with objectives? We want to grow email coverage by 50% of current database. Survey 1,000 customers online each month. Good information to know what do people like, what do people dislike about how we do business, or products or services. And increase visitors to community site section by 5%. And next, save costs. Right, another thing too, you're like, hey, we want to save money as marketers. We don't want to spend a ton of money, have to cut costs. right? We could, hey, maybe market through email, right? Email communications, maybe that's, instead of other methods. Things to reduce staff, print and postage costs. Savings also accrued through web service where customers answer queries through online content. You could think even to reviews, right? But like reviews is actually doing work for the company. Because you're like, I don't have to tell you about the product, I'll let the customers tell you about the product, right? We're saying here some of the objectives as marketers would be to generate 10% more sales for the same communications budget, reduce costs of direct marketing by 15% through email, increase web self-service to 40%. Right? A lot of good metrics, things that, you know, for your final projects, I would say you would want to kind of include. Like what is something that we can measure that makes sense, how we actually save costs by using these methods. All right, so here's our first kind of group class assignment. So for the rest of the term, let's do groups by tables. So I will say U4 will be a group, U5 will be a group, U3 will be a group, let's see. All right, U3 will be a group, U5 will be a group, and U5 will be a group. All right, that's the groups for the rest of the semester, just remember. All right, here's our, all right, I want you to think of your most visited websites. Right? Most visited websites. Tell me what, and if it's not even a website, it could be a platform. Like, hey, my most used, or your most used platform, right? It could be most visited website, most used platform. I want you to name 5 things that you love about it, right? That kind of keeps you coming back, and maybe 5 things that you would change. And a reason for the changes. 5 things that you would maybe alter on a website that kind of, you know, kind of bother you in some way, right? Or provides an inconvenience, or something you just don't like, right? And give reasons for these things, right? So I'll give you about a couple minutes to talk with your group about it. Yeah, it could be a social media platform, it could be a platform, website, something in the digital space. But nothing from the black market. No dark web content included.
Yeah, instead of what we can change about it. Like I think, or even like Starbucks too. They can take, you know, Sephora, right? You know how they kind of use like, they're kind of like with the trends, and they're kind of with all that stuff. I think if Starbucks were to get more like humorous and kind of with the trends, I think they can make a lot more, they can maybe increase your sales a lot.
But don't agree with you.
And let me say, you don't need 5. Just name as many as you can name. I don't want to put a number, so just, you know, name.
I'm saying like, you know how, so like, what was it, when Love Island was all crazy, funny people were getting with like the music and everything, Sunbrew was getting on a lot. Basically, there were things going on, and make it funny. And the lights, the products.
So are we just presenting this and then choosing? You start with your.
Yeah, it would be Monday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we don't, it's only Monday. That's part of that. Well, I don't know. That might just be my phone just got canceled, so I'll, She was like, "Yeah, we can do an independent study." I'm like, just class off. Y'all go sleep in, do what you want. Okay, cool. But yeah, like Nike or Starbucks.
Oh, it's the smart one. It's actually nice because you were, Nike is, they have more accessibility. I don't know if that's a word, but
They have-
change it.
They have more. They're more.
It's not me.
They're more.
It's not on me though. Okay. And your is smells like.
They are saying like they're more receptive to like better change.
I live with you last year.
So yeah, no, but yeah, I get what you're saying. You mean like receptive to change, right? Better. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably could. Yep.
Kinda dance. I don't have nothing.
I mean, what does it say? So it says on the assignment, review the company website, do the matters involved, what's your impression on it, busy, boring, sign up, whatever.
Alright, who's in for a hand of blackjack? Well, who opposes? Who's like, I don't wanna. Wait, who here doesn't know how to play blackjack? You're not telling me.
I don't have to What's the benefit?
Alright, it's very simple. The goal is to get to 21, beat the deal, right? Get to 21 or as close to 21 as opposed to what I have. And so if you got to say, for example, okay, so these are called face cards. They're all worth 10 points. King, queen, jack. The ace is either a 1 or an 11. So your own choose. Right? And the rest are just common sense, right? And so if you say, hey, I want another card, you say, hit me. Dr. Ross, right? Not physically. That life's $1,000. And then we have some extra cards here, because I don't think I have enough for everybody. Okay, I'll do this after we get our answers. Hey, on a side note, I have a friend and he operates now I think 2 or 3 pizza spots, right? It's Italian food and pizza. They're also kind of a quasi little grocery store, like a miniature market. It's called S&T, and they're primarily out in the suburbs, Mount Greenwood, New Lenox, southwest suburbs, and he's looking for a marketing team, right, to kind of help with the promotions. And so he may be coming in, trying to get him in either, I think like 2 weeks from now, to do a guest presentation to tell you about the company, and see if anyone wants to contribute. Now, I'm gonna talk to him more. I know he's looking for some interns or someone who could develop a marketing plan. That could be part of the project, because they don't have a huge online presence. Or even maybe some paid opportunities. But once again, I don't know yet. I have to have a further conversation. So he may come in here in the next 2 weeks, I would say, and tell you more about the business and get your information and the content. All right, right here, what do you think? Websites or platforms, things that you love, things that you would change, what did you come up with?
We said TikTok and Instagram, and then we like that they like are catered to us, and like the algorithm is like they show you what you want to see. It's convenient, and then it's like overall pretty funny. So like for the synchronized out like such your break off. And then for the dislikes, we said ads, they're just kind of annoying. And then pushing things you don't want over and over again. So like they'll show you like
Okay, so hey, good things about TikTok and IG, you like the algorithm is pretty good, right? You search, you click on something, you search for something, you hashtag something, you like something. Recently, stuff relevant to that probably come up next, right? Stuff you're interested in. A lot of humor, right? So like humor is good, it takes away some stress and anxiety. Bad things is sometimes they're really pushing things, right? And you don't know if it's a marketing effort by other companies doing it, right? They paid a lot of money, they're really pushing something. So within that algorithm are the forces of paid marketing as well too, right? A lot of times they're like, why do you keep showing me this? I don't want to see this, right? Because somebody paid a lot of money on social media. Okay, here, I'll just.
So we did YouTube and TikTok, are pretty similar. A lot of the stuff that they said, we also agree with, but a couple things that stood out was, at least in the YouTube department, was the variety and like creation of videos. Like you have your shorts, but you could also find content anywhere from like 10 minutes to an hour, 3 hours, like there's a bunch of variety there. Another feature that's kind of neat is the live streaming stuff. It's like, for instance, if your favorite creator is live, you can hop on, you know, TikTok live or YouTube live and just watch what they're doing. A couple things you don't like are, you know, ads, but how much like time it demands. Because once you sit down and really start scrolling, being
Doom
on,
scrolling.
yeah, like a lot of your day goes by, and like at least like, I don't know, Michael were talking about is like we've tried to like delete these platforms. We're trying to get away from it. But then we'll have like another platform that does it kind of similarly, and we're doing the same thing there. So it's like, yeah, that's some of the stuff that we don't like.
Okay. You're like, hey, yeah, YouTube's good, right? They put the shorts at the top, and then they'll put the full length, underneath that. And then maybe even scroll a little bit further, you start to see the videos get a little bit longer, right? So maybe in the beginning, it'd be like 15-minute videos, 10-minute videos, 8-minute videos, bro, things, or my hour videos. Interesting, you're like, hey, once it starts to get late at night, then you get those weird videos that last 3 hours, and you're like, it's still playing in the background somewhere. Some people like that. People like, they like to sleep to their favorite weird videos, right? Something about space and physics. I kind of do the same thing as well too. So you'll see the videos get way longer past 9 p.m., right? 3-hour videos, even coming up on your algorithm. Okay, over here. Anything different?
We also did TikTok. Our 5 pros was that it's accessible, it personalizes what you get, it has a shop, you can find a similar tool that like, you know, for the things you wanna buy, and then you can make money off it easily. Our 5 cons is that like sometimes the ads, like you don't need to like swipe and take your profile, it's kind of annoying. There's a lot of fake product in ads, you get like notifications constantly, and then even in the app itself, like your little notifications pop, like just builds up. And then it's hard to discover new content because it is so personalized, and then it's addictive.
Yeah, extremely addictive. Right, and so you think of maybe the relationships, since TikTok is a Chinese-based company. TikTok shop looks just like TV. Annoying pop-ups, a gazillion, trying to gamify everything you do, click on something, mistakenly click on something, then you get taken to something else. So yeah, that could be extremely annoying because you're too saturated on all, you just got too much stuff going on. Whereas maybe other platforms, say more Americanized platforms, tend to be a little bit more streamlined. So yeah, it can be highly distracting, highly addictive, because once again, you're taxing your attention, and then you get kind of fatigued after that, right? You get brain fog, because you tax all the energy for your attention looking at a gazillion things on each one of these spaces. All right, anything different over here besides social media?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
We also do TikTok.
Yeah, so for like, the purposes, it is personalized, it's fast and easy, to use, and it's open
do you think most of the things you buy have been motivated or inspired by viewing it on social media?
Yes, because a lot of businesses, they do funny ads or kind of like trending ads.
So if you had no social media apps on your phone, laptop, anywhere, how would you go about trying to see things that you like? Or would be interested
Well, I mean, you mean in general, like all social?
in? Yeah, let's say you deleted all the apps. Do you think you would purchase less things?
Yes.
Or we use other platforms and just curiosities to search for things you'd be interested in? Or is most of your consumer behavior driven by the social media?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I mean, with TikTok in general, it's like any doom scrolling, it's a, you know, it's a bad thing, there's instant dopamine, because I mean, that fuels your phone addiction, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was just saying, that's like any other drug you do at once, and you like it the first time, you're trying to repeat that same high every other time, and you're not gonna get that way, so.
Yeah, you only got so many reserves in your brain, it's shooting off, right? And then the next day, it's like not getting your coffee, you're like, something's off, I need to get some I need my TikTok cake, right? It's the same kind of mechanism, right? Like I need my caffeine, my brain, the wiring is used to what it's been doing for the last 3 months with TikTok and Instagram. If I don't get it, it's gonna be a little bit foggy out there, right? It's not getting what it needs. So, all right, anything different in the back?
We did Nike.
Okay.
So, some things we said they're good at, we said they're consistent, they have easy access, they're memorable, and they're consistently improving and have a strong motto. And some things that we didn't like their prices, some prices are too high. They repeat a lot of products with like minor tweaks. They could expand on sports products, like other sports products, they miss like some sports, I'm not sure which ones.
Tennis, or even sometimes, or even just they're not putting it out as much, like golf or volleyball.
So they're more basketball focused, football,
Soccer,
baseball.
track.
Advertising the more popular sports. They could have better color combinations.
Cause there's some that are like a bright yellow, like tennis shoes, like who's gonna wanna wear that as a regular thing? It'll look, or just look like it'll just look like clown shoes.
Yeah, so maybe look at their impulsive buying, right? Someone may buy it and then quickly recognize after they purchase it, we're like, it's kind of impractical, I can't wear this with everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, some people will notice that it's one of the new shoes, but I feel like it doesn't have to be so like easy to see and like, it sometimes doesn't look good with whatever you wear, so.
Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, and then also, we said with quality / durability, cause like, what was it, like, I heard like past, like Max Flies, track, they have like an air bubble inside of, on the bottom of the spike. But some people have been saying, you know, after a couple races, it would pop and it would ruin the entire, like, use of the air bubble in the spikes to make them go faster and kind of
Gotcha.
create more pressure or force on the ground.
Yeah, some of the, air bubble technology doesn't like, I have quite a few Vapor Maxes, and the bubble does go out. Once the bubble goes out, it's like one shoe will be normal when you hit the ground, and nothing will.
Yeah.
All right, so Nike, you're saying, and in the back over here, way in the back. Oh, you guys all the same group? Did you have a different?
So we also had TikTok, but we also had Snapchat.
Okay.
And like we said that like the pros is that we can do videos, like short videos, send it to people, have streaks, communicate with people around the world and all that.
Well, let me ask you this, if you have Snapchat and have TikTok and have IG, is Snapchat just replicating like IG and TikTok? Like, do you find that Snapchat has its own true beneficial use as opposed to the much kind of bigger social media?
Me personally, I just use Snapchat just to communicate with people. I do use the other two platforms, but I'm trying to like, get away from those. But have similarities with